Best thing I ever did for myself was to work for mean people. And today we're going to talk about self motivation on the long term, especially when we talk about endurance. So, these days there's so many, and I guess it's good political correctness, and let's give you gift cards and employee of the month and HR, you know what I mean? All that wonderful stuff that keeps our jobs from being toxic work environment type jobs. Let it be positive, friendly, and professional. And although that all that's wonderful, I am going to say that the best thing that ever happened for my own personal development was to work for companies that are not like that, but old school companies that still use bludgeoning management styles. And that is what has made me the business monster I am today, because I was not coddled or enabled with bad behavior or, whatever. They cracked the whip on me in my career. So one of the jobs that did that for me was a company called Right Pack, which we had to work nights, and all the salesmen were old Italian men, and I had to process their invoices. And these guys were kings of this place, so what they said went. So if you were an employee that complained a lot or whatever, they got rid of you. So if you had to be able to keep up in order to keep that job. And I remember at the interview was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. The first thing out of my manager's mouth was, if people scream at you, do you cry? And if someone ruins your day, can you still be productive? Can you still do your job? What do you do when someone insults you and swears at you? How would you handle that? And I thought, what is this place? And then when we got through the interview, she said, I want you to know that we don't motivate you here. You're not going to get gift cards for doing a good job. We're not going to continually thank you and put your picture on the wall, employee of the month stuff. We don't do anything like that here. Here, if you get to come to work tomorrow, that is how you get that's your compliment. And if you get a paycheck on Friday and you get to come back the next week, that's your employee of the month. You get a paycheck. So don't expect anything more. If you cannot keep yourself motivated on the long term, you don't belong here. Bang, flat out. And it was that brutal. The environment was that brutal. And I became weathered in the best way possible, and calloused where nothing could move me anymore. Nothing affected me. I remember one of my closest friends worked with me. Her and I, our relationship really bonded through this job, and we were so close. And then she died unexpectedly, and we got the news that she died while I had customers in front of me. And for like literally 10 seconds, everybody just kind of stopped and was aghast. And the salesman came up and blasted me and said, what are you doing? Clients are waiting. She's dead. They're not. Process. You can cry after. And she was one of my best friends. And you know what? I didn't say fuck you and storm out or whatever. I took the invoice, I processed it, and I told him I was sorry. And I got back to work. And I cried while I processed invoices, but I did the damn invoices. And some would say, well, that's inhuman. That's so wrong, and you should have. No, you know what? Now that I am a business owner, I don't have the luxury of an HR department to cry to. I don't have the luxury of someone stepping in to do my job, because I own the business. So that grueling toughness, you know what I mean, serves me very, very well, because I don't have someone who's going to put my picture on the wall. I don't have anybody who's going to tell me, yay, I did a good job. Okay, I've won business awards, and those are my version, but those awards are few and far between. I won a business award in 2013, and then I didn't get another one until 2017. So that doesn't happen all the time. So I need to find my own endurance, that thing that keeps me going on the long term, and it's companies like Right Pack that help me develop that. So now I work for the family business. So there's my dad and my brothers. And so there's no boundaries. There's no professional boundaries there. There's no. My dad says to me all the time, "I dare you, call the labor board. I dare you." know what I mean? He could say that to me. I'm his daughter. He is HR. He is all in there, and he's not one for feelings. You actually cannot use the word feelings in front of my father. The word feelings is an emotional trigger for him, and I mean trigger in the psychological sense. He flips out when somebody mentions feelings. That's how tough a bastard he is. And I've been working for him now for 6 years, and he's not the type to see. He'll tell everybody else I do a good job, but he doesn't ever say it to me. So I have to find my own validation. I need to find my own motivation, and enduringly, not just for a week or a month, but on the long term, year after year of grueling things happening. Both my parents in cancer treatment at the same time. That dominated a year and a half, 2 years, and my dad's still in treatment 3 years later. Then that took a toll through getting a divorce, through any number of tragedies that happened in between, because there's been lots of them. I still have to do my job, and I still have to be motivated. And when you're at the top, like I said, there's nobody there to applaud you or to give you a prize or to give you an award. What it is everybody around you needing something, needing your advice, needing your inspiration, needing your guidance, needing solution, needing you to step in. Everybody needs something of you from where you're at the top, but who's giving to you? Nobody. Nobody. You have to tap into that still little engine inside you, and you have to fuel that for yourself. It's your own goals, your own ambitions, your own self-respect. And I like to work with people like that. I don't want to work with someone that I have to keep motivated, because I have to keep myself motivated. One thing that Right Pack did very well was in their hiring. They didn't necessarily hire a skill, they hired a personality. And they wanted people that took ownership of their job, people that had their self-esteem came from their performance at work, and they have to be the top salesman or the top whatever, self-motivated, that they want to be there because they want to be there, not because it's on their shift. My shift started at 4 a.m. I was there at 3 o'clock, making coffee for the salesman, and I would spend an hour. And to everybody else, it was like, what are you doing being subservient to these salesmen, making them coffee? That's degrading as a woman or whatever. Do you know how much I learned in that hour? I learned so much in that hour just overhearing their conversations and everything else. That was like superstar training, and they respected me for it, not because I made them coffee, but because they knew what I was doing. I was asking lots of questions. I was learning. Why do we do this? How come you guys make me put this on the invoice? I was learning. And they respected that. And I was queen bee of that place until I had my brain injury that ended that career. But then that stick-to-itiveness, that grueling self-incentivizingness is what made me take my father's, business, which was, a bunch of tough guys, bins and trucks, and I turned it into the most respected brand of the industry. We have annual sales of about 5 million. The next company next to us is 600 million. I'm going against lobbyists of a $600 million company, and they've got a whole slew of people trying to stop me on a daily basis. And let me tell you how much damage I do, that I don't know any of their names, but all of them know mine. I didn't do that because Daddy kept applauding me. Daddy tells me on a routine basis I'm full of shit. And prove it. Numbers don't lie. Prove it. Okay, you did that last month. What did you do this month? You won an award. I don't give a shit. Awards don't pay the bills. What sales did you do? So my father is never nice to me. And I don't take that as I'm not motivated because he's not positive and he's not inspiring me. That's not his job. It's not his job. If you have to go around your career waiting for somebody else to give you an incentive or somebody else to inspire you, you're never going to get to the top. You're always just going to be mediocre. Excellence comes from within. It's not something that's given to you. It's not something that's inspired in you or that somebody else cultivates in you. You have to be hungry. I am a predator. So I want to learn everything I need to know so that I'm the best hunter in the room. I cultivate that in myself. I don't need somebody else to keep me motivated. I don't need somebody else to keep me inspired. My goals motivate me. My personal ambitions keep me motivated because I want to be stellar because I don't know how to do anything else. So it's not that I'm stellar for a week and then I flake out for 3. I'm stellar every minute I'm awake because that's all I know how to do. And if you want to get to the top, you've got to get like that too. So stop waiting for your picture to be on the wall. Stop waiting for, 30 exclamation marks at the end of the thank you from your boss. Otherwise, you feel taken for granted. Waiting for those gift cards or those emails saying how wonderful you are. Find that shit for yourself. You know when you did a good job. You know when you did a good job. And you're not being paid to be mediocre. You're paid because people want people that work for them that go over and above for that paycheck. The paycheck is the thank you. And as soon as you get that in your head, they told me I can come to work tomorrow. I must have done a good job. I got my paycheck. That's great. I want to make sure that if our sales quota is 35 a week, that I'm bringing in 45. If all my employees, if the top guy's bringing in 47, I'm going to bring in 52, and do it all the time. And don't expect my boss to acknowledge it every time it happens. I know I did it. I know my numbers are good. I know I'm excellent. I know I come in early and stay late. I know. And even if this boss doesn't appreciate it, that endurance, that Olympic training, that grueling training that I'm giving myself, when I own my own business one day, I'm going to be unstoppable. That's why when I said municipal governments would do curbside collection for textiles and these $600 million lobbyists laughed in my face, it happened. And when it happened, I got the contract. I was the first company to have a government logo on their bin. I didn't do that by being mediocre. I went against a $600 million company. Those are a lot of people. It's just me and my brothers and my dad. And it's our company is who's considered the leader in this industry. We're the ones who set a new standard. It didn't come from our size. It didn't come from our money. It didn't come from, we had none of that compared to our competitor. What we have is this. And we have this. And we have grueling endurance. Those guys work from 9 to 5. I don't. They work Monday to Friday. I don't. Especially in those early years when we were getting started, it was 7 days a week, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, every day, and not for a week or a month, but for years I did it, till my thyroid fried to nothing did I do it, till I almost ended up in the hospital. That's what it took, and that's what I did, and that's why we are where we are. And I didn't have anybody cheering me on along the way. I did it because I wanted it. Get to that place, and you'll achieve anything you want.